Okay, so hey everybody, we are recording. I'm so excited for tonight's call. Make sure to put in the chat where you are tuning in from. And we're so excited to have you on tonight. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Katie Harold, and I'm a presidential diamond from Toledo, Ohio. And I have been in this business for 5 years as of next week. I'm so excited, and it's been quite a journey. And I love meeting people along the way, sideline sisters who just do it differently than you, right? Always get a new perspective. And, to get to where I am now personally, I built honestly from every piece of the pie. I can't say that I built strictly through social media or belly to belly. I did everything, you guys. I did rap parties, I did sample parties, phone calls, three-way phone calls, showing people the party pad, events, vendor shows, bridal shows, social media, Facebook. I cannot tell you that I built through Instagram yet. This is the one thing I haven't conquered. So I'm really excited to talk to Jessica tonight and hear her whole story. And we're just going to basically pick her brain about Instagram and her whole story. So I'm going to go ahead and get right to it. Jess, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm so excited. So I know you told me a little bit of your story, when we were messaging, but I know my team doesn't know any of your stories. I want you to act like nobody knows anything about you. And I want you to I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody one last time. So you're going to have to unmute yourself again. But I just want you to start from the very beginning. Like, how did you find it works? What did your life look like? And just tell us the journey from the beginning.
Okay, so I will have been in 3 years in August. I had seen people posting on social media about it all the time. And honestly, like I was the girl that everyone hates. Like I made statuses about network marketers and how annoying they were. And I like blocked everyone. And then I saw one of my like very good friends posting about it. And she had posted about her unlimited fast start bonuses. So her unlimited $100 bonuses. And I was like, if she can make 10 $100 bonuses in a month, like I surely can do the same thing. And so at that point, my husband had just entered the military and he was going through EOD school. So he was gone from like 4 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. And we were sharing one car. It was almost impossible to work outside of the house. So when I got there, when we both got to Florida, we had built up our savings to like $7,000 and we thought we were rolling. Like we were like, we're good. We can live on that. We're going to have no issues. And then we started picking out of our savings to pay for bills. And then sure enough, a couple months later, we were at like zero in checking, like $200 in savings. And we were like, crap, what do we do now? So then that's when I came across my friend that was posting about her fast start bonuses. So I decided, what the heck, I'll just give it a try. Like best case scenario, I can stay home and make a couple $100. We don't have to do the whole sharing of the car thing. And worst case scenario, I just wasted $100. So I got started. I earned the $500 Ruby bonus back then in 2 months. And then I just kind of hung out there because I was like, I only wanted to make a couple $100 and I was now making around, $400 to $500 a month and I was comfortable. And then I went to conference that year for the very first time. And that just like totally changed everything for me. And everyone told me like, you need to get there, you need to get there. And I was like, okay, like I'm not the type of like peppy, like cheerleading, excited type person. So I was like, I don't know if this is going to be for me, but I'll go, whatever. So I went, and then that month I went diamond. And then the next month I went double diamond. And I earned the $20,000 and $30,000 good bonuses. And then a year from then, I got my husband the $20,000 diamond bonus. And then I just got comfortable again. I was like, you know what? I'm making more than I have ever made in my entire life. And so now I've been hanging out at Double Diamond until last month when I was like, I've had enough.
Gotcha. I love it. Okay. So you went diamond and double. So before it was even a year.
Yeah, I think my diamond was like 7 months and double diamond was 8 months.
Okay, and then the following, so you hung out there, and then the following year you took your husband diamond.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so I basically just want to go ahead and pick your brain. So when you first found It Works, was it on Facebook? A post on Facebook about the weekly bonuses?
Yep, it was a post on Facebook. She had posted like her commissions thing and then just like X'd out the amount. And then I like texted her and I was like, what is this all about? And she was like, I earned $100 bonuses this month.
Okay, so that's kind of what caught your attention. So did you start building on Facebook and
Like
then you
all
switched to
Facebook.
Instagram?
Yeah, so the majority of my business has been run on Facebook. I just really started hitting Instagram hard like the last 2 months, but I had always been like adding to my Instagram, like adding followers and posting periodically just so like I had that whenever I like wanted to start running with Instagram, I would have
Right.
something to work with.
Right. That's kind of how I am. Like I just always use Facebook, but I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep posting on Instagram if I ever decide that I'm going to take the time to do this. So, what made you decide like I'm going to switch platforms here for a second?
So what happened was with Facebook, and I feel like this happens with a lot of people, but like people run through their warm market and then they kind of like hit this brick wall. And
Mhm.
at that point, I had run through my warm market and then I felt like I was never going to get any further if I didn't figure something else out. I felt like Facebook was limiting me with the only 5,000 friends thing. I had a lot of team, a lot of family, and stuff like that. So I was just trying to think of ways to expand beyond just my 5,000 friends on Facebook.
Okay. So when you started on Instagram, like when did you really start picking this up?
Like 2 months ago.
2 months ago. So I think I mean, we've got 73 people on this call. So I think for a lot of people, some people are rocking Instagram and the people that aren't are like, I don't even know where to begin. And they feel like it's just such this big time consuming thing and that they don't have time to like dive into that and start and don't know where to start. So like walk me through that process. You were like, all right, I'm switching to Instagram. What did you start doing? Like, what were your musts every day for your Instagram?
I would post at least one time every day, whether it be personal or product or business posts. I would just make sure I was posting at least one time. And then what I really dove into was like my stories. So I just wanted to like allow people to get a glimpse into my life and relate to me. So I really dove in hard with my stories. My posting on Instagram is still only once a day. I feel like the stories are so much more important because people are actually seeing like you for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the same thing with Facebook, how if you're posting a bunch on Instagram, you're kind of competing with yourself to get your posts seen. And so that's why I've decided to just do the one post a day. And then all of my product posts and stuff like that are in my story.
Okay, so one post a day on your actual, like, I don't know what you call it, profile.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a preference, like, of what that is? It works every time? Is it like every other day? Or is it just kind of like whatever you feel like?
Um, it's kind of, it sounds weird, but I'll like look at my pictures and be like, what will look good next? So
Mhm.
like if I did a product post, I don't want to like line up a bunch of product posts on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side or whatever. And so I usually do like every 4 or 5, I'll do like an artsy looking, product post, and then most of mine are just like pictures of my family, and then the caption is going to be something about the business. But probably every like 3 I will do nothing to do with the business and just like something about my family or what we did that day or something inspirational or something like that.
Okay, so you don't try to like make an actual post more than once.
Right.
Okay, so in your stories, tell me what a daily like story might look like for you, or maybe like for a few days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so every morning when I wake up, I drink keto coffee with chocolate greens over ice. So every single morning, I will be drinking my skinny coffee in my story. I start off every single day with a skinny coffee post. And then after that, I really just post about like whatever I'm doing that day. And if I see that like I have 3 posts or 3 stories about my kids in a row, I will throw in something like looking for hair models or something like that. Or, I have a bunch of posts about me working out or whatever. And then I'll do like a weight loss, looking for weight loss models. Or I don't really have like a structure to my stories. I just kind of try to take pictures or videos of everything that I'm doing throughout my day, so that I have something to throw up there. Even if it's something like stupid, like people love to see in your life. Like I post pictures of my son dancing every single day, and people still every single day will message me and be like, oh my gosh, he's so funny or whatever.
Okay. So I think that was definitely one of my questions. I'm looking at all my questions to make sure we get them all answered. Okay, so one of my girls had this question, and Sarah also had this question. So last month, you guys, she signed 19 distributors and 26 customers. That's like steps to success times 4 plus more. So what we want to know is, are these new leads? Were these a mix of like some new and old? Like basically these 19 distributors and 26 customers, give me like an overview of where they all came from.
I would say probably like 75% of my customers were new from Instagram. And probably, I think all of my distributors were from Instagram, but probably half of them were new leads.
Okay.
And the other half were people I had followed up with.
So you said about 75% of the customers were new, and then about half of it. So the other part that weren't new, were these from Facebook or all Instagram again?
There was probably like 2 or 3 from Facebook, but the rest were all Instagram. Just people that like, I don't know, people that I followed up with, or I have on my follow-up list that I'll go through every Friday or whatever and follow up with.
Okay, so oh my gosh, I have literally questions written everywhere from everybody. So like your follow-up messages. Obviously, that all of these people, did you like go ahead and say, hey, like, do you want to be a product tester, and then walk them through the whole thing, and they were like, yeah, I want to sign up? Or was this like a lot of like follow up throughout the month?
You mean like the only the follow-up people?
I guess all of them. I mean, obviously you didn't sign all of them on the spot.
Right. Okay. So the majority of my customers that I signed last month from Instagram were from host to post. And then the other like 25% or whatever, those were from people that I had been following up with forever. Like some of them even came out of the woodworks after ignoring me for like a year. But I just continue to follow up with them, and some people just decided to hop last month.
Okay, so what was and you guys, I promise I'm seeing all of your questions. I'm trying to like match up all the questions so they get answered. So your follow-up message to the ones that weren't like new on the spot with the host to post, what was your what were your follow-up messages looking like?
I literally just do the same thing every time, and it's so simple. Like, hey girl, I have 1 spot left for the weight loss challenge or the hair, skin, nails challenge, and I thought of you. Were you ready to get started, or something like that? Okay. I don't ever think like too much into it or like try to complicate it. It's always just that for my follow-up messages.
Do you have a system, like an organizational system? Some people are more organized than others. You can tell me no, because I don't. But
I don't.
Some people have like a notebook where they write down people's names of people they've talked to. On
my organizational system.
Okay.
There's no organization to it.
So when you're doing the follow-up, are you basically just scrolling through your messages to see who you haven't signed up yet?
No, I do have like periodically, like once every month or every 2 months or so, I will go through my messages and write down all the people that I have talked to about it. So I do have lists of like people to follow up with for distributors or people to follow up with as customers. But as far as like when I'm talking to someone, I'm so bad about like writing their name down on a day to follow up with them. I kind of just like put everyone in one place and follow up with them all at the same time.
Okay. Now, when you're messaging people, are you creating a relationship with them first, or are you just going through and messaging your followers? Because I noticed you have about 8,000 followers on Instagram. Why don't
Yeah.
you tell us how you gained those 8,000 followers? Because that's a good number. I noticed that. How many are you following? 3 or 5? I couldn't really.
I think like 4,000.
Okay, so I mean that's a pretty good number. You're more than half of the number of people you're following are, you have a good following. So I mean that's a pretty high number, 8,000. So how did you get there? How did you get all of those followers? And if you could just talk about like how you're going through and messaging these people. Are you just messaging followers? Are you creating relationships? Like, what's your system?
Okay, so I try to find people on Instagram who, when they come to my page, they're going to realize why I followed them. So I have stuff in my bio like that I do CrossFit, that I'm religious, that I live in South Dakota, like stuff like that. So I will go to like local businesses in our area and follow people from there. I have like hardly any local teams, so I'm really trying to focus on like getting people near me. So I do a lot of that, and then I will go to like golden retriever pages because I have a golden retriever and I post about her a lot. And so I want people that I'm following to be able to come to my page and be like, oh, that's why she's following me. Like I'll follow her back. So something that's going to connect us. Rather than just going to like, I know some people go through like boutique pages and stuff like that, which I don't like to do because I feel like there's nothing to relate to on there. There's nothing to connect with them.
Okay.
And then the way that I go about messaging is I will start with the people who have viewed my story. Because I feel like if they have viewed my story, then they at least know who I am and they've seen into my life. So I'll message people who have viewed my story. After that, I will scroll to the bottom of my followers and just start messaging from the bottom of my followers because those are the people who followed me like the longest time ago.
Okay, so when you say you're messaging people who viewed your story, I know what that means. And I hope you guys all know what we mean by Instagram story. If you don't, you definitely need to update your app. But when you say you message people who viewed your story, what are you messaging them?
I'm not messaging them like, hey, I saw you viewed my story. I'm just messaging them. I don't know if I've gone over this yet, but I am only messaging for host to post. I feel like if I'm messaging for host to post, they're going to tell me if they are personally interested. So I'm kind of like killing two birds with one stone. So I'm only messaging for host to post. So I will just go in. I'll actually just, let's see here. So I just go in and say something like I hope you're having a good week. I have a really odd request for you. I'm sorry it's so random. I'm up for a huge promotion this month that would totally change everything for my family. Would you be willing to help me out, help me get the word out by posting something on your page that I've made up for you? I'll send you a free product of your choice if 2 people sign as product testers. So I'm just sending that to the people who viewed my story, and I'm not even mentioning like, hey, I saw you viewed my story, unless they viewed my story about like my actual, like my it work story and like where I was and, you know, how I've overcome what I've overcome and where I'm at now.
Okay. So I want to talk about that for a second because I'll forget. When you told me when you and I were messaging. So basically, you guys, she has in her highlights, she has me and it's her whole story. Like from beginning to now. And it's really long, but she told me like she'll message people that watch all the way through because it's pretty long. So if you are watching that whole thing, wanting to know like what happened, where does this story go? Then she's like, these people, like what are your thoughts on those people? The people that get to the end. What do you
Yeah,
say?
I feel like if they are continuing to watch it, because it does take like a minute or two to like get through the whole thing because it's long, but if you're watching that whole thing through, I feel like you're at least somewhat interested in what I do or what I've done or how I've overcome it or my story or something. You relate to me on some level. And so in that case, I messaged those people and just said, Like, thank you so much for watching my story all the way through. It means a lot to me that people actually care about what I've overcome. Let me know if you would ever be interested in what I do. I'd love to give you more information. So something that's not too pushy. And I've gotten a lot of like, yes, your story is so inspirational. Thank you so much. I'll let you know if I'm ever interested or whatever. Not everyone jumps on board, but I think it's a good way to like break the ice.
Okay. Now, I know that, so many questions for you. Okay, so Sharon had this question just now, and this was one of the first things that I asked her. How in the heck do you do a host to post over Instagram? Because I feel like people are only utilizing host to post right now over Facebook. So why don't you tell us how you're doing host to post through Instagram? Because I thought this was really great.
Okay, so I will send that message that I read to you guys. And then once they say yes,
you read that one more time? And if you have that pulled up, can you read that one more time for everybody?
yeah, I just said, hey, love, hope you're having a great start to your week. I have a super odd request for you. I'm up for a huge promotion this month that would totally change everything for my family. Would you be willing to help me get the word out by posting something on your page that I've made up for you? I'll send you free product of your choice if 2 people join as product testers.
Okay, and then tell us, if they say, like, yeah, I'll do it, then what do you say?
Okay, and then I just say, perfect, let me find a post for you. And then I will send them a post that says, let me find it. Is anyone looking to lose weight or tone up for summer? My friend Jessica is looking for 3 more people to participate in a 90-day weight loss or tone up challenge starting at $25. This will include workouts, recipes, free product, and a supportive community. Like or comment for more info.
And then what type of picture? So that will be the caption, you guys. And we have to remember this is Instagram. It's all about pictures. So that's the caption.
So then for the picture, I will do something. I did before and after photos, and I didn't get as much like interaction on them. So I've stopped doing before and after photos unless it's someone that I like know personally, and then I'll have them post the artsy photo and then like swipe for results or whatever. But I just do artsy pictures, like something like this for summer. I've done like something like this. This is $25 weight loss challenge.
Now, I know people are going to ask this, so where are you finding your pictures?
I just go to Pinterest and I type in like summer beach fun or something like that. That's going to bring up beachy summer fun type photos.
Okay. So she's giving them like an Instagram worthy photo that doesn't look like it works. And then if she knows them really well, then she can have them do like the multi-photo thing.
Yeah.
But I guess it would be hard for somebody that you don't know to be like, okay, now I want you to do this complicated thing with this multi-photo.
Right.
And then now tell me your process that you were tell everybody your process that you were telling me. Like you say it starts at $25, but we obviously want people to order more than Fat Fighter so they get their better result and it's more BV for us. Talk to us about like that process and then how you do like how you see them first and it goes into another category for you. Let's talk about that.
Okay. So yeah, I always say that it starts at $25 because I feel like that kind of catches people's eye and they're like, oh, that's really affordable. I could do that. And then when I message them, I will go straight to asking them about their goals. So I won't even mention the $25. I'll just say, how much are you looking to lose? Are you regular? And what are your eating habits like? And then based on that, I will recommend either like metabolic burn plus greens or triple threat, something that's a higher BV. And most times they just go with that and they don't even mention the $25. But if they do mention the $25, I just say like, yeah, that's our most basic package, but based on your goals that you've given me, I think that this package would give you the best results.
Okay. So we kind of just like bypass the $25. We say it starts there, but she finds out their goals. And you guys, this goes back to the same thing, like in the crew, how I had that video of the upselling. And those are the questions that we ask people. We have to ask people these questions. If somebody's not regular, we're not going to just let them order Fat Fighter and have it be done with that. So now talk to us about the way you like put it into the lists on Instagram and all that, because I don't even think a lot of people know.
Okay, so
And you might have to like show us on your phone.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Very
Okay.
visual.
So this is just someone's post on my page, but if you see here, there's like a flag in the bottom right-hand corner.
Uh-huh.
If you click on that, it will say save to collection. And then once you go back to your main page, so your main profile, you'll see the same flag here on the right-hand side. So if you click on that, that's where I have all of my hosts to post at. So that will create like different folders. You can create different folders for different hosts to post. And then like if I click on one, it will give me like a news feed of just those hosts to post.
Okay, so just the weight loss host to post, or just the hair, skin, nails host post. Everybody that has done it for you is in there.
Right.
You guys, how freaking awesome is that? I don't know, like collections is kind of one of those newer things on Instagram where I feel like people don't really know about it.
Yeah.
So, you guys, tell me what you think about that in the comments, because I think that's pretty freaking awesome. Okay, so people that are commenting on those posts, you don't know them, so I'm assuming you go ahead and you follow them and you send them a message. What's your initial message? Like, we obviously know like how to walk them through the questions and get them their products, but what is your initial message to them?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say that as soon as they make the post and people start liking it or commenting, I will go through and follow all those people, because if you just go straight to messaging them, it's going to go through their message requests and they're probably not going to get a notification for it. And so I will go through immediately and just follow every single person that likes or comments. And then a couple hours later is when I'll go through and actually message them. But for the people who are commenting, I will just straight up say, hey, I saw your comment on so-and-so's post. You're looking to lose some weight. How much would you say you're looking to lose? And then just carry on the conversation from there. If they're commenting, I will just say, or if they're just liking, I will just say, hey, thanks for the love on so-and-so's post. Were you looking to lose some weight, or did you know someone who was? That way, I'm not offending them by being like, oh, are you looking to lose weight? But then also they might be willing to send me referrals if they know someone who is.
That's like, oh my gosh, that's so genius, because it's like you're talking to one person, but you're literally roping the referrals right in there.
Yeah.
Because they might say like, well, yeah, I am, but like, so is my friend. And so you can kind of get 2 for 1. Okay. Yeah. So you, another thing one of my girls was wondering was, okay, so we know what you initially message them. And I think this is what a lot of us do. So it's good to hear that, like, it's kind of reassuring. And then when you walk them through, like, some of my girls want to know how you word things, like the loyal customer program or distributor, or let's kind of finish with loyal customers here for a second. So How do you personally, when somebody's like, you get through those questions and it's time to tell them about the loyal customer program and get them signed up, let's walk through that for a second.
Okay, so to explain the loyal customer program, I literally just say you get to try at least one product a month for 3 months at my discount, and then you'll get that discount on all products for life. Sometimes I'll mention we don't have a minimum purchase requirement and that they can change their product each month. Like, I don't try to talk about like perk points and like all this crazy stuff unless they're like asking more questions about it. I try to just keep it short and simple and hit the main points and then let them ask me questions from there.
I love that you said like you'll get to try products at my discount. It's like you're making it almost sound like a privilege.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're just like, oh, well, I'm going to get to do this. And so I can't even think of how I word it right now, but I just sometimes even tweaking just a few words. Like,
yeah, I know that some people, like I've seen some scripts where people say like, you'd only be required to order. And I just feel like required and words like that are so, they make you sound like you're locked into something and that you're like signing your life away, where if you make it like you get to do this and I give you these perks because of it, I feel like it just goes so much smoother.
Yeah. Now Susan wants to know, do you sign them up through Instagram by taking their info, or do you get them through text or giving your website? Like, how do you take it from this is what it means to be a loyal customer and they say yes, where do you take it next?
I say, shoot me a text and I'll let you know what info I need to get you started. If I'm talking to a distributor, immediately I get their phone number. Like if they show interest at all, I say, why don't you shoot me a text? I don't always get notifications for my Instagram Messenger, so texting is a lot easier for me. And then that way I have them through text. I can follow up with them all the time, talk to them about their life. I feel like text is just so much more like personal, and some people don't get on social media every day. So I feel like you're able to catch them more often
Right.
through.
Right. And and it's true, like not everybody checks their Instagram notifications or inbox. Like for us, checking our DMs might be like, oh my gosh, I've got to check them right now. Well, for other people, that's not their priority.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. So, those are host to posts. Let me go through and see if there's any more questions about the host to posts. Because I know it was kind of like mind blowing for a lot of people to realize that we can do this on Instagram too. I'm just checking these.
I want to say one thing with host to post. So
Yeah.
for the last like 6 months, I feel like people have been doing host to post and I like wasn't a believer. I was like, this doesn't friggin' work for me. Like, I don't know how you guys are doing this, but I never get anything from it. And what I found was that some days and some people you just like hit big, and then other days it's just dead. But what I wasn't doing was I wasn't staying consistent with like sending out 100 host to post messages a day. I was doing, 25 here and there and then being like, why am I not getting anything from this? So you have to realize that like some days you're not going to get anything and some days you're going to get a lot, but you have to stay consistent with doing it or else it's not going to work for you.
Okay. I'm going to mute everybody really quick, so you don't have to unmute yourself. Okay. I love that. Like some days you hit big and some days you don't. Like that's like that in every part of the business. But I think when we start something new, like Instagram, for example, we have to remember it's the same thing all around. Like we just have to, the consistency is the same thing all around, no matter what platform you use. Now I know we kind of already covered this, but somebody did ask this, so I want to address it. What about messaging on Instagram? Do you just message random, or do you only message people you interact with? And I think we kind of answered that, like you're messaging people that are watching your stories.
Yeah, but I do want to kind of reiterate, like I was so freaked out about like, have I interacted with this person? And I feel like I wasted a lot of time trying to figure out who was like safe to message and like, because like I said, I'm not an organized person. So I don't have like a list of all these people that I've interacted with. So what I'm going to say is like, don't get too caught up in like, I have to be BFF with this person and we have to know each other's deepest, darkest secrets. Like interact regularly on your Instagram and reply to people's stories on your Instagram, show people your life on your story, but don't focus too much on like building huge elaborate relationships with each of these people. Like if they're on your page, they're following you, they've been following you for a while, they know who you are, they're in your store, and they're fair game, in my opinion.
I like it. I mean, that's really simple. Interact regularly, comment on their stories, and be real on your stories.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Cindy, about who she messages. Now let me ask you this. Like for me, okay, so you have like a lot more followers than me, but so for me, the most people that see my story is like 200 people in a day. So let's say you've messaged everybody that's been watching your story and you kind of get to a point where you're like, okay, I've messaged all the people that I can message that are watching my stories. Where do you go next?
That's when I go to my followers and I just scroll all the way to the bottom and start messaging from the bottom up, because then I feel like the people on the bottom are the people who have been following me the longest. So they kind of are more familiar with who I am and like what I'm about.
Okay. Now Sarah Oliver asked advice for distributors who aren't moms, and Sarah, I'm not a mom, so I can address that later after we talk about all this Instagram stuff. Okay, so Susan says, so loyal customers through host to post. Did you find your distributors through host to post as well? Where did the distributors come from? So let's switch gears and let's talk about distributors.
Okay. So I've never done a host to post distributor, host to post. I probably should, but honestly, I just haven't. I don't know why, but I haven't. So all of my distributors, like I said, probably 50% of them came from that story highlight that I did, either people messaging me just saying like, you're such an inspiration, like, thank you for posting that. And then I would say like, of course, let me know if you'd ever be interested in doing what I do or something like that. The only time I say let me know is with a distributor, because I feel like if you're going to like shove it down their throat, it's going to be like a turnoff for them. But yeah, so most of all of them have come from that highlight, aside from me just following up with people. And then, like I told you guys how I was messaging the people who had viewed my story all the way through, my Instagram highlight story. Those people, a lot of them were just like, actually, yeah, I've been interested, but I haven't reached out, or, like, I've been wanting to reach out to you and ask you some questions or whatever. So I think the key is just like not being afraid to reach out to people and offer them the opportunity. That's, I feel like, something that sets me apart from a lot of people, is that I'm not scared to like tell someone that they would be good at this and that they need this in their life. Because for me, it's easy because I've seen what it's done for me and what it's done for like the people around me. So I don't ever feel like annoying or like a burden for reaching out to someone. Whereas I think some people get scared because they feel like annoying or whatever.
Right. Jordan just asked, does it show all the way through? Yeah. So each like clip story has people that viewed it. So you can see if the same person viewed all of them, basically. Yeah. So how do you decide if you message to ask for host to post or ask for distributor?
I will honestly, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, so don't quote me, but this is what I do. I kind of like judge a book by its cover. So I'll go to their page and be like, do they have like solid followers? Are their pictures like attractive? Like, do they seem fun? Are they outgoing? Like, is their profile boring? I just kind of figure out who I would want on my team based on their profile. And then worst case scenario, like, you can always flip it around. Like, you're never set in, like, if you message someone about being a distributor and they'd be like, oh, well, I don't know, like, I want to try products first or whatever, you can always turn that around to be a customer. So honestly, I judge a book by its cover, but most of my messages are host to post messages unless I like have someone that I am like dying to have on my team, which actually brings me to another point. Like on Instagram, if I come across a profile that I'm like, I need this girl on my team, there's a setting on here where you can turn on post notifications. So you'll get notified every single time that that person posts, so that I can like ensure that I'm interacting with those people that I'm like dying to have on my team.
I've done that before too. Okay. So I think for a second we need to talk about getting over that fear of messaging people to ask them to be on your team. Because I feel like that's the biggest fear of all. And you guys can tell me if you agree in the chat. But for me personally, and from what I've seen, like, it's just that fear of going in and just messaging, and the fear of what will they say? Will they ignore me? Will they whatever? Susan also wants to know, do you use polls in your stories? Really quick.
Yes, I do use polls. I haven't gotten a whole lot from polls, honestly. I get a lot of, oops, I didn't mean to, or
yeah,
whatever. But I do use them as like icebreakers. So like it gives me a reason to message them because they voted on my poll. So
okay. Yeah, so let's go back to that fear for a second. Like, getting over, like, how did you just one day be like, I don't care, I'm doing this, like, kind of, let's talk about how to get over that fear of the initial messaging for distributors. Because it's easy, you guys, right? It's easy to be like, hey, looking for somebody who wants to grow their hair out. Like, that's not scary to us for some reason. But to ask people to join our team, oh my gosh, that's terrifying, right? So let's talk about it for a second.
So I think what changed it for me was like finding success in myself and my team. It made it a whole lot easier for me to like share it. Sorry. For me to share the opportunity with people, because I saw how it has personally changed stuff for people that I know. And then also, I feel like if you have the wording right, it's a whole lot easier to message people. Like when I first started, it was the most god awful message ever. It was like, do you want to be a loyal customer of mine? Like you would get 3 months, blah, 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 blah. And it was just like hideous. And so once I found the right wording and like I was coached on how to word things, it was a lot easier for me to message people. So what I do when I'm messaging for distributors is I always compliment them. I feel like if you're complimenting them, they can't really come back with much negativity. So I always tell them, I love your page. I love that you are, or like, I love that you're so outgoing. You would be awesome at what I do. Or like, I mention a trait that they have that I think would make them good at what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So then that way, if they're like turning me down or whatever, I feel like they can't really get mad about it because I just complimented them.
Right. So you kind of just talked about in clips what you say, but like walk me through a message where you're offering the business.
I would say like, I don't know, like, hey, Kelsey, you've been on my newsfeed a lot lately, and I just can't help but reach out to you because I think you'd be great at what I do. Your profile is so cute, and that's literally all it takes is using social media or something along those lines. Like, I don't really have a script because I try to just keep it like super simple. Like all of my messages are super short. I don't ever do any more than like 3 sentences. It's all just straight to the point.
Okay,
I
so
don't
no more
really
than
have
three
like a script
sentences.
message.
I like that, no more than 3 sentences, because I'm personally a person where if I see a long message, I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know how you explain the loyal customer program. When you word, so what some of my girls want to know is how do you word things? Like, how do you word what it is that we do? If somebody's like, yeah, what is it that you do?
Well, I have the same message I sent to everyone for that. So let me just pull that up. I will say that when I'm messaging, I make sure that I always end with a question, and I'll say things like, are you familiar with the way that works? Or have you ever heard of this? That way, like if I'm saying our triple threat, I won't just say, I think our triple threat would be best for you. It has this and this and this, and it's this much. I will say, I think our triple threat would be best for you. Have you ever heard of it? And then they'll say no. And then I'll say, it's made up of this and this and this. Are you familiar with our product tester program? So that it's not like all this huge long message, and it kind of like keeps the conversation flowing.
So you
But
call
then,
it product tester program.
yeah, sometimes I'll do like customer program or product tester program, just whatever I'm feeling that day.
Okay.
But when somebody asks what I do, I say I work for a health and wellness company that has over 30 plus natural-based non-GMO products that I get paid to share and sell on social media, along with sharing the opportunity to help others make income from their phone as well. I do it by posting, messaging, and expanding my friends. Does that sound like something you could do?
I like it. So when they're like, yeah, I would totally be interested, where do you go from there? What's next?
I guess it kind of depends on what we've talked about before, but if they just say, yeah, I totally think I could do it, then I'm just like, all right, shoot me a text and we'll go over any last questions and get you signed up. Like, I don't ever try to like overload them with information beforehand, because I feel like sometimes if we do that, it can overwhelm them and kind of scare them away before they even get started.
Yeah.
And so I let them ask me the questions, and then I just get them signed up, and then we'll go over stuff during training.
So, okay, so when people say they're interested, you say text me, you give them your phone number.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they text you, are you getting on the phone or are you continuing through messaging?
I always do texting. I'm like really socially awkward and scared of talking on the phone. Like even for these Zooms, and like if someone's like, can you call me? I have to like prepare myself for like an hour before I actually do it.
Okay.
And so everything that I do is over texting unless they're like, can you call me? And then I start like freaking out, and then I eventually call them. But
Okay, so they text you and they say, hey Jessica, it's Katie from Instagram. Then what?
And then I just say, do you have any last questions for me, or should we get this party started? And then if they have questions, I answer their questions. And if they don't, then we just get them started.
So if somebody's like, so what is it? So you say you post on social media, but like, what do you actually do?
I mean, I don't think I've really ever got like, but what do you actually do? Like, I feel like I just tell people I post on social media and I message people and whatever. And then they're just like, yeah, that definitely sounds like something I could do. And then they like come at me with questions like, do I have to order a certain amount every month? Do I have to sell a certain amount to like stay in the business? Or do I have any quota to meet? Or, like stuff like that, that then I just answer those questions. But
Okay. Do you so do you send them to your website or do you take all of their information and you put them in?
I take all their information.
Okay, and you put it in?
Yeah, unless they're like freaked out about it, in which case I will say, if you would rather do it on my website, I can walk you through that. Let me know when you're near a computer so that I know that they're like doing it like right then and they're not just oh yeah, I'll go to your website and then
So after they get signed up, do you get them on a Zoom? Do you walk them through the training? Like, what do you have them do first?
So first I add them to our team page. We have a really awesome team page. And so there's like tons of resources in there, but I will just tag them in a video like a training video that I made when we had the $10 kits and it was hard to keep up with training everyone. So I made like a 15-minute, just the basics training video. I have them watch that and write down any questions they have. And then I will get on FaceTime or phone call or something with them and go over any of their questions.
Okay.
I used to like spend hours upon hours training people, and I found that maybe I was like overwhelming them because a lot of them were just quitting after that. And so now I'm trying to keep it more short and simple, and then just answering questions that they have or asking them like if they feel comfortable doing this, and if they don't, then I'll like reiterate more on that so they feel more comfortable.
What are the first few things that you have them do?
Set up their auto shipment if it's not already set up. If I enrolled them, I set it up before that. And then I will have them make their first post. And if that's something that they need help with, I'll help them with that, because I don't want them like posting a It Works logo and then like, I joined It Works. So I like help them think of their first post. And then I have them make their hundreds list so that they can start reaching out to everyone on their hundreds list. And I'll probably give them like a sample message or something like that.
Okay. So let's go back to Instagram messaging. Let's say you had somebody that told you they're interested in the past, and then you just all of a sudden haven't heard from them, and you're going to send them a follow-up message. What does it look like?
Well, Instagram is nice because you can like unsend messages.
What? You can?
Yeah. So if you've sent like 10 messages in a row and they like haven't responded, sometimes I'll just go in and like unsend the last 5. So they may have like forgotten that I messaged them like 2 weeks ago or whatever. and then I will just say, hey girl, I know you were interested in this business before. Can I ask you what's holding you back? Just to like get to the root of what's holding them back, because chances are any fear that they have, like I probably had that fear before I signed too. So then I'm able to like talk them through it and overcome that fear so that they will eventually sign.
Okay. I'm just writing this all down. Is that pretty much like the only thing that you send for those types of messages?
Yeah. Unless we have like that, like the $49 kits and stuff, I would say, I said something like, I feel like this was my sign to reach out to you. Our CEO is letting us give half off kits this week or whatever, something like that.
Okay. All right. So here is the good question. Where did it go? Walk us, like, what does your day look like? Let me ask you this. What does your day look like? You have what, 2 kids?
Yes, I have 2 kids. So that's funny because I was asking my friend, like, what do you think she's going to ask me? And she was like, she's probably just going to ask you, what does your day look like? Like, what do you do every day? And I'm like, God, I hope she doesn't do that, because like I said, I'm like,
tell me it's a mess. It's okay.
It is literally a mess. Like there's no organization to it.
Okay.
So every morning my son goes to daycare from 9 to noon. So that I can sit down and like work my business at that time. I now have a newborn, so I don't always get to just work my business at that time. But I get on Zoom every single day with my team. So from the time I start working in the morning, I just keep my Zoom code up and running all day, and people just kind of come and go as they please. And we will just do tasks all day. So whether that be following, messaging, whatever we're working on for that day, we just do it as a team, which I feel like is what has helped me expand more lately, is because we're working more as a team rather than me just sitting down and working my business by myself every day.
Right.
So after probably like 4 o'clock, unless I have a Zoom, we go to the gym at 4, and then the nighttime is like for my family. So I will go to the gym at 4, we'll have dinner, give the kids baths, read with them, put them to bed, and then it's me and my husband's time. Like most of my working is in the morning. And if I get messages at night, sometimes I'll respond to them, but most of the time I'll just wait until the morning when I open my computer and hop on Zoom and then do all my work at that point.
Okay. So walk us through a day on Instagram. So I think, I know I've been talking about this the whole time, but like, so that's what your day looks like, but walk us through a day on your Instagram. If
Okay,
that, whatever
so
that means to you, I guess. And the person that asked me this, don't hold back. Like, how much time do you put in? How many people do you message? Like, just give us the goods.
okay, so like I said, every morning I'll wake up and I'll post on my story. Like the first thing I do is I go and I just make all my first posts in the morning. And then from there I will follow, because I mean, okay, this isn't every single day, you guys, because I'm like so super unorganized, but I'll follow at some point in the morning. That way I can follow again in an hour. So I'm not like I do it first thing so that I'm able to do it again soon. And then I'll sit down and I'll message anywhere from like 50 to 100 people. And I know people have said they've gotten blocked for that, but I've never been blocked on Instagram for messaging, knock on wood. But I do use text replacement. So it goes super quick. Like I've told my team to message 100 people and they look at me like a deer in headlights, like, holy crap. But with text replacement, if you guys don't have that set up yet, like I highly suggest getting it set up, because I'll do like watch a training video in the morning. Like I was watching a Jade Hooper video one morning and it was like a 20-minute video and I had messaged like 85 people just because it's so like click, 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 done. And so
Can you tell us how to do text replacement?
Sure. So you have to have an iPhone. If anyone has an Android, like first of all, team iPhone, but also like get an iPhone.
First of all,
but,
team iPhone. Second, get an iPhone.
Yeah. So if you don't have an iPhone, I'm not sure how to do it on Android. So you're going to have to like Google it or something. But for an iPhone, you're just going to go into your main settings. So where you would go to change your ringtone and all that fun stuff. And then you're going to click on General. So it's just this little like gadget looking thing, General. And then you're going to click on Keyboard. And then once you're at Keyboard, you're going to click on Text Replacement. And then I don't know if you can see it here. It's a little bright. I have a bunch of them saved, and then what I'll do is that morning, depending on what I'm doing, like if I'm following up with someone or if I'm sending host post messages or responding to people on my poll, then I will go through and figure out what replacement I'm using for that day or that time or whatever, and then I'm just able to do it super quick. So that is one thing that I do, is I focus on like one thing at a time. So I'm not doing like follow-ups and host to post messages and whatever. I'll do all of my host to post, all of my follow-ups, so that I can just do that text replacement one right after the other, super quick, and be done.
Okay. So you guys basically text replacement. So for example, I have had it works on text replacement since I joined. When I type in IW on my phone, it spells it works. That's just how it has always worked for me. So you kind of go through and do like text replacement for host to post, and then
Yeah, so I'll type out the entire message. So it's going to pop up like this when you're trying to set it up. And the top one says phrase and the bottom one says shortcut. So in the phrase part, you will put whatever message that you're sending in that phrase part. And then in the shortcut part, you will put like a couple letters or something that is going to make that message pop up to where you just have to click on it. I've heard that is why you won't get blocked because social media isn't picking up on copy and pasting. So it's like you're typing a new message each time. But I will warn you to make your abbreviations like something that you will never use because like at first when I first started doing it, I would have it like Insta and then like FB, and then any time that I was like talking to anyone and I would say like FB, then it would like type that huge long message and send it to them. So
I agree.
yeah,
I
mine are
have,
like XX or WZ, like stuff that I'm never going to use.
that's actually a really good tip. Somebody said after 25 messages, if you're using the same message, Instagram will block you. So yeah, so I guess text replacement is the way to go. Okay, so let's go back to your Instagram day. So first thing in the morning, you make your first post, you start following people, message 50 to 100 using text replacement. Like talking about your whole Instagram day, like are you just on Instagram all day, or then do you have a certain amount of time where you go through your timeline, like comment, like comment, like comment?
Yeah, I do. I have times where I just set aside to do that, but I don't have any like schedule. I'll just do it for like 30 minutes, but I don't waste a ton of time because I feel like a lot of people spend time doing like interacting, which is really just like scrolling, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
like not income producing. And so I try to set aside like 30 minutes, maybe twice a day, just to scroll and interact. And a lot of the times I like to um, like find people that I'm intentionally interacting with. So like those people that I have my post notifications on for, or like people that I don't know, people I've been dying to have on my team, or people that have been like on the fence and haven't jumped yet. Those kind of people, so that I'm not just like scrolling and wasting time.
Right.
But after I like make my posts and I follow and I message, then I would probably go through, I probably have a poll up from the day before. So I'd go through and message the people from the poll, um, or I'll go through and unfollow. I do use, what is it called? Cleaner for unfollowing.
Okay.
And then I actually just paid today for the Captivate app to start
Okay.
following with the Captivate app. But yeah, most of my day is spent on Instagram. Like I really work hard my business for those first like 3 hours of the day when my son's at daycare.
Okay.
And that entire time is spent on Instagram. Like I'll make a post on Facebook, but for me, Facebook feels kind of dry. And so Instagram is like my outlet.
Right. Right. No, I agree with you on that. Okay. So sealing the deal, let's talk about that for distributors. So that's kind of like, when people have all these questions, like what's kind of your like seal the deal question? I don't know if I guess I kind
Um,
of addressed it, but let's talk about
I
it.
think what helps me seal the deal is like, for one, being super relatable and like talking to them about like their personal life. Like if somebody texts me and they're like, hey, I'm interested in joining your team, I don't just jump into like, okay, like what question? I'm always like, hey girl, or like they'll say, hey, it's so and so from Instagram, and I'll be like, hey, how's your day going? Or like something like that to show them that I'm like I actually care about them as a person. I try to carry like a normal conversation with them instead of just like making it a business deal, which I feel like is really important. And then I always ask what's holding them back, because for me, like I had every fear that every new person has. Like I feel socially awkward, like shy. I'm from a town of 900. I was worried about what everyone was going to think of me. Like I didn't have a lot of friends because everyone hated me in college. Like I had the same fears that everyone has. And so I feel like asking them what's holding them back and being able to relate to them helps me seal the deal a lot. And then also like with that highlight story, if you guys are going to do that, what I had to do was I like really had to dig deep. So I went through my Facebook and I just scrolled all the way back to like the first time I started my Facebook. And then I just looked for like the like lowest point in my life and then like what changed from then to now, and I just gave a timeline from that. And so I think that being able to like have people relate to me on like the lowest level and then like how I overcame it and now being at like my highest point in my life, it like I don't know, allows people to feel like they're connected to you and that they would be able to do the same thing. Because I had so many people when I posted that Instagram story that were just like, hey, I'm not interested in what you do right now, but I just want to say like you're such an inspiration. I'm going through this right now, and you know, it's awesome to see that you've overcome it or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay. So, do you have like a system? So obviously, since you signed 19 distributors and 26 loyal customers, do you have like a follow-up system? Are you grouping them together to get them trained or to, you know what I mean, follow up or anything like that?
For the distributors, I am just doing that training group and then FaceTiming them with any questions. And then from there, I just check in with them periodically as I would with the rest of my team. I also started like a 400 push group with a couple of other girls on my team that I think has really helped all the new distributors, like giving them tasks and stuff to work on so that they know what they're doing. And then as far as customers, I literally just have them all written down with the date that they signed. And then like every morning I'll wake up and be like, okay, who is, you know, whose auto ship is about to run that I need to check in with or whatever. I used to have like a binder and I used to have like a planner, but I am just literally so horrible at that stuff. And it's something that I need to work on, but I haven't. So mine is all literally just written down with the date, and that's how I do it.
Okay. You know, I think what we can all take from this Zoom, you guys, is I think it's reassuring that we're doing things right. We just have to do more, like spend more time on Instagram and be more strategic. Like you were talking about, you know, how you don't just, you know, you interact with your people, but you don't just like scroll. You interact specifically with people, and like if somebody you want somebody on your team, like you said, um, and just it's just so simple. Like I always tell people, it's not easy, but the tasks are simple and the steps are simple, and so I think if we just do more of those. So she may have said this already, but do you message your following or followers?
I message my followers. I'm not following everyone that follows me because I use the cleaner app to like unfollow people who haven't interacted with me in the last 6 months, or people who haven't posted in the last 6 months, or people that don't have a profile picture, stuff
Can
like
I ask
that.
you how you unfollow people that haven't been active in the past 6 months or haven't? Because I also have cleaner, uh,
Yeah.
but how do you unfollow basically like the inactive people?
Okay, hold on. Let me go to it and see. But I was going to say too that I heard this tip that I have been implementing on my Instagram too. Like if you're scrolling and you're not interacting on a post, like unfollow that person, because like there's no reason for you, because you have a limit of, I think it's 7,000 people that you can follow on Instagram. So I personally want to save those 7,000 for people that I either want on my team or my customers or whatever. And so if you're scrolling past someone's post and not interacting on it at all, there's no point in them being on your page. They're just wasting a space for your potentials. So I have been doing that. If I go through something that's like raunchy or like they're posting about like dogs being beaten or like whatever, then I just unfollow them so that they're not even on my news feed.
Okay.
My app that says filtering, so this might be a minute.
Okay. So I'm looking at this right here, and I don't know if anybody knows like with the actions and stuff, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to
If you go to, I think it's called quick select and then like advanced search or something like that.
advanced quick select.
Yes, click on that. And then does it show?
I'm gonna show everybody what I'm doing while you're. Okay, so you guys, this is the cleaner app. So on the main page it says quick select, and this pops up advanced quick select search. Okay, so then what do you do?
What are those options there?
Select non-followers, select ghost followers, select inactive users, select users without profile photo.
Okay, so what I start with is I start with non-followers. So I unfollow people who aren't following me back because there's no reason for me to be following them if they're not seeing my posts anyway. So I'll start with that. Ghost followers are people who never interact on your stuff. So then I'll go to unfollowing my ghost followers. And the inactive people are the people who haven't posted in the last 6 months. So I'll unfollow them because they're obviously probably not seeing my messages if they haven't been on Instagram in the last 6 months. And then the ones without profiles, those are the last ones that I will unfollow. So that's why my followers is so much higher than my following, because I'm like weeding out the people who aren't interacting on my stuff. But I still message those people because they're following me, so they're seeing my posts and they know who I am.
Great. And you guys, something on Cleaner too is you can whitelist somebody. So let's say like your best friend or a celebrity that you follow, or maybe it's like maybe it's just an account that like you don't want to unfollow them no matter what. You can actually put them in a whitelist, and this will basically put them in the safe zone. So if you say like get rid of all your ghost followers and your cousin hasn't commented on your stuff in 6 months, but you want to keep following her, it'll keep her in your whitelist and it won't unfollow her. Does that make sense? Like it kind of gives you like you basically lock some people in. You know, because you might follow a fitness account that you really like for your personal use and you don't want to unfollow them.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any more questions for Jessica?
I do want to say, like, when you're following people, um, don't go to like boutiques and fitness pages and mommy pages and maternity pages and kids pages, because I feel like that's like what every multi-level marketing person thinks of is they're like, oh, I'm a fitness company, I better go to these fitness pages. And then you have like a ton of other network marketers on your page, or like people all of a sudden like assume that like moms need to stay home with their kids, and then everyone's following from a mommy page. So then
Mm-hmm.
you're getting a bunch of, network marketers on there, or people who are also being bombarded with network marketing.
Right. And I love this just goes back to one of the first things that you said in this call was finding people that are going to go to your page and know why you follow them. And I
Right.
feel like I kind of do that too. Like I have a Wheaton Terrier. I don't know anybody else and it works that has a Wheaton Terrier. So I am like all over the Wheaton community and we're all following each other because that's like our thing. And he's the first thing on my page.
Yeah.
Um, and somebody just asked this. It doesn't really pertain to Instagram what we're talking about, but I just feel like I should address it. What happens if people on your team aren't working? My whole team isn't working but you. How do you motivate them? And Nikisha said it perfectly. You cannot motivate them. You can only inspire them to do what you're doing. I would say, don't expect them to know the ropes as soon as they join. That's not going to happen. Make them feel comfortable, train them, be a good sponsor, don't give up on them, and just keep working, and you will find the people that want to run with you. So, just any last, pieces of advice or things you want to tell everybody tonight?
Um, Not that I can think of. I lost it. There was something right before you said that I was going to talk about.
Maybe just like being your own runner type deal, like how you can't.
Yeah, that is totally true too. Like, I always make sure that my team knows where I'm at if they need me, and that I've answered the questions that they have for me, and I'll check in with them periodically, but I never like chase people down and like push them to work. Like if they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it no matter what you say. And so I think that's a huge thing is people try to like work too hard with the people who just like don't want it. Like you want it more for them than they want for themselves. And so that is huge. But I remember what I was going to say, and it was that if you feel like you're doing enough, like do more. Because if you feel like you're doing a lot and you're not getting anywhere, like the only solution to that is to do more. Like, a bunch of my new girls will be like, I've messaged everyone and I just don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. And then I'll say like, how many people have you messaged? And they'll say like 15. Well, that's not going to get you where you want to go. So if you feel like you're doing a lot, like that's what I had to do last month. Like I set goals for myself that I thought there was no way it was going to happen. Like my goal last month was 10 distributors and 30 loyal customers. I didn't meet my loyal customer goal, but that was a goal at the beginning of the month that I was like, yeah, right. But then it gave like writing down the empty spaces, just like put it in my head and I was able to like focus on filling those spaces. So yeah. Are you cold messaging? I'm never like going to people's pages that I'm not following or that aren't following me and just like sending them a message. Everyone that I'm messaging has some connection to me of some sort. I'm not building an elaborate relationship with them, but I feel like if they're on my page, they're in my store and they're fair game. So
They're on your page, they're in your store. That
yeah.
was good. Okay, so I like that because they're related to you in some way. Oh, just love it. I was going to ask one more thing. Okay, how many messages do you think you're sending out a day?
On a good day, like a day where I'm just feeling like invincible and just like ready to get stuff done, I would say I send out probably like 300 messages.
Okay.
On a day where I'm just like not feeling it and like kind of slacking, I never send any less than like 50 messages a day,
Okay.
except for Sundays. I usually take Sundays off.
Except for Sunday. That's good. Now this whole time, are you just kind of like you're still posting on Facebook, but you're not like active in the background on Facebook?
Right. So I will post on Facebook and then I'll message like people who like and comment on my posts, but I just don't focus on like mass messaging on Facebook.
Right. Right. Okay, well, you guys, I am going to get this recording up. I know we have a lot of questions for you as far as, things we talked about as far as like the way you explain the custom program and what you send for this or that. So you and I think, can compile like a list so we can make just one thread for that and we can post it when we get that done. So,
Sounds good.
well, Jess, I appreciate you taking the time out tonight to kind of tell us how you're rocking Instagram, and congratulations on signing 19 distributors and 26 loyal customers last month.
Thank you.
Super awesome. Everybody says thank you. And yeah, I just appreciate you all being on and plugging into your business. And I hope to see a lot of you at Freedom U with Pam and Sarah next week. And tomorrow's Thursday, and just go out there and get it, you guys, and set your goals for this month and just realize, like, I think this is the one thing I was going to tell my team was, set your goal. Like if your goal this month is to complete your steps to success and you haven't signed anybody yet, then for the next 3 weeks, your goal needs to be, I need to sign one distributor this week and, X amount of loyal customers. And, next week I need to sign 2 distributors and this many customers. Like, break your goals down by week and by day. And so it kind of all fits together by the end of the month. So, all right, everybody. Well, Jess, thanks so much for being on with us.
Thank you,
And
guys.
everybody, have a good night.
You too.
Bye.